Output is determined by A. Heart rate, B. Stroke volume, C. Blood flow, D. Both A and B. So the amount of blood flowing from heart over a given period of time is known as cardiac output. It depends upon the heart rate and stroke volume. So cardiac output is equal to stroke volume into heart rate. So it is approximately 5.5 liters. So option D is the correct answer. Erythropoiesis may be stimulated by the deficiency of A. Iron, B. Oxygen, C. Protein, D. None of this. So the most important factor controlling the rate of red cell production, that is erythropoiesis, in the oxygen content of the arterial blood. So it is oxygen. A decrease in oxygen content stimulate erythropoiesis. So oxygen need to be supplied to different organs, which is the responsibility of the RBC, which contains the pigment hemoglobin. So option B is the correct answer. In man and mammals, air passes from outside into the lungs through. So the passage of air is from external nostrils or external nares into the nasal cavity. From nasal cavity it passes to inferior or internal nostrils. From there it passes into the pharynx, larynx, trachea, which is the windpipe, bronchioles, bronchi, and to each alveoli of the lungs. In this process, internal costal muscles and some abdominal muscles contract to reduce the volume of thorax. So option C is the correct answer. In which part gaseous exchange takes place in rabbit? A. Trachea and alveolar duct, B. Trachea and bronchi, C. Alveolar duct and alveoli, D. Alveoli and tissues. So when air passes from external nares to pharynx, trachea and larynx, it ultimately reaches to alveoli, which is the major part in which is the functional unit of the lung, small balloon-like structure where gases exchange takes place. So it mostly takes place in the alveoli and through blood capillaries in the tissues. Carbon dioxide is exchanged with oxygen. So option D is the correct answer. Which is common passage in swallowing food and breathing? A. Larynx, B. Gullet, C. Glottis, D. Pharynx. So pharynx is a small tube-like structure which is a passage for both food and breathing. It is divided into nasopharynx and laryngopharynx or oropharynx. So nasopharynx is included in breathing and oropharynx is for food. So option D is the correct answer. The portion of the vestibule between the true and false vocal cord is known as A. Vocal pouch, B. ventricle, C. Vocal sac, D. Vocal cord. So inside the larynx there are present of vocal cord. These are two pairs of folds of mucous membrane that extend into the lumen of the larynx from the sides. This forms vocal pouches. So these are the portion between true and false vocal cord, option A. The long trachea of rabbit contains A. buccal cord, B. thyroid, C. complete tracheal cartilage, D. incomplete tracheal cartilage. So the trachea is a tube which is about 10 centimeter long, supported by C-shaped ring of hyaline cartilage which are incomplete. So option D is the correct answer. The narrowest and most numerous tubes of lungs are termed as A. hilum, B. bronchus, C. alveoli, D. bronchioles. So in human, first there are nostrils which continues further into pharynx, which is divided into oropharynx, nasopharynx and oropharynx, which further comes down into a trachea which has C-shaped cartilages, which is around 12 to 16 cartilages, and down the trachea divides into two bronchi. The division part this is known as carina. So bronchi divides into further numerous tubes into bronchioles. Now these bronchioles enters the lungs from both sides. So option D is the correct answer. Which structure in mammal does not help in respiration? A. Ribs, B. Abdominal muscles, C. Diaphragm, D. Larynx. So when there is contraction and relaxation of the internal costal muscles, the ribs takes part in respiration. Diaphragm is a partition between abdominal cavity and thoracic cavity. So when diaphragm contract, it becomes flat and increases the volume of thoracic cavity. When it relaxes, it is dome shaped and decreases the volume of thoracic cavity. Larynx is a passage through which air passes about trachea. So abdominal muscles does not take part in respiration. Option B. What is true about hemoglobin? A. It is dipeptide and present in RBC in bloodworm. B. It is present in dissolved state in blood plasma of earthworm. B. It is dipeptide in mammal and localized in RBC. D. It is present in dissolved state in blood plasma in scorpions. So RBCs are red blood cells which contains a red color pigment known as hemoglobin, which helps in exchange of gases, which is very efficient for breathing. So hemoglobin is a dipeptide molecule which has two globin chains, alpha and beta. So it is present in RBCs in mammals. So option C is the correct answer. The largest quantity of air that can be expired after a maximum inspiratory effort is A. Residual volume, B. Tidal volume, C. Vital capacity of lung, D. Lung volume. So vital capacity of the lung to expire maximum volume of air after deep inspiration. The large quantity of air that can be expired after maximal inspiratory vital capacity is equal to the sum of tidal, complemental and supplemental air, which comes out to be 500 plus 3100 plus 1200, which is 4800 ml. So option C is the correct answer. The relative proportion between volume of carbon dioxide released and oxygen absorbed in inspiration is termed as A. Respiratory exchange, B. Respiratory quotient, C. Respiratory phase, D. None of the above. So the respiratory quotient is the ratio of carbon dioxide output to oxygen usage during respiration. So respiratory quotient can be written as volume of carbon dioxide formed divided by volume of oxygen utilized. So option B is the correct answer. The area of inner surface of bronchiole is A. 1 meter square, B. 10 meter square, C. 100 meter square, D. 1000 meter square. So the bronchiole is one of the smaller air passage in the lung of mammals. A branching system of bronchiole carries air from branches to all regions of the lungs. There are as many as 750 million of alveoli in both the lungs in adult men, which provide about 100 meter square surface area for respiration. So option C is the correct answer. Oxygen hemoglobin dissociates into oxygen and deoxyhemoglobin at A, low oxygen pressure in tissue. B, high oxygen pressure in tissue. C, equal oxygen pressure inside and outside tissue. D, all times irrespective of oxygen pressure. So more active tissue has much lower PO2. Therefore, much more oxygen is released from oxyhemoglobin in active tissue. So option A is the correct answer. Anaerobic respiration in animal produces A, carbon dioxide and water. B, ethanol and carbon dioxide. C, lactic acid and water. D, glucose and oxygen. So in process of anaerobic respiration, materials are incompletely oxidized into carbon dioxide and simple organic substance like ethyl alcohol or lactic acid, and very least amount of energy, that is 21 kilocalorie, is released. So option C is the correct answer. Pyruvic acid is converted into compound before formation of oxaloacetic acid in the citric acid cycle. The compound is A, acetyl, B, acetoacetic acid, C, lactic acid, D, cis-aconitic acid. So during aerobic condition, pyruvate is converted into acetyl CoA. This is known as acetylation, and formation of pyruvate is glycolysis. Plus carbon dioxide is released here. Acetyl CoA enzyme combines with oxaloacetic acid and forms citric acid. So option A is the correct answer. Who discovered tricarboxylic acid cycle? A, Watson and Crick. B, Krebs. C, Melvin Kelvin. D, Meyerhoff. So the Krebs cycle or tricarboxylic acid cycle, also known as TCA cycle, occur inside the mitochondrial matrix of inner chamber. Its details were given by Hans Krebs in pigeon muscle. It is also known as citric acid cycle. First product formed is citric acid or tricarboxylic acid cycle because it has 3 carboxyl group. So option B is the correct answer. Amount of carbon dioxide in atmospheric air is A, 3%, B, 40%, C, 0.03, D, 0.3%. So atmospheric air normally contains 78.62% of nitrogen, 20.84% of oxygen and 0.04% of carbon dioxide. 5% is moisture of water vapor. So carbon dioxide is option C. A gaseous exchange between blood and air does not occur in A, conductive zone, B, respiratory zone, C, transitory zone, D, all of the above. So in conductive zone, gaseous exchange does not occur between blood and air. The respiratory and transitory zone, including alveoli, constitute about 90% of the lung volume. So option A is the correct answer. The first enzyme to take part in Krebs cycle is A, aconitase, B, dehydrogenase, C, citrate synthase, D, decarboxylase. So when acetyl CoA plus water plus oxaloacetic acid is converted into citric acid, which is the first product formed in Krebs cycle, this takes place with the help of enzyme citrate synthetase. So option C is the first enzyme. Oxyhemoglobin is an unstable compound because A, hemoglobin is a complex pigmented protein. B, there is physical bonding between oxygen and hemoglobin. C, there is chemical bonding between oxygen and hemoglobin. D, one molecule of hemoglobin combines with 4 molecules of oxygen. So hemoglobin is an ion containing respiratory pigment, occur in RBC or red corpuscle It is a tetrameric conjugated protein. And can find 4 oxygen molecule by coordination bond. So option C is the correct answer. Body tissue obtained oxygen from oxyhemoglobin because of its dissociation caused by A. Low oxygen concentration, B. High oxygen concentration, B. Low oxygen and high carbon dioxide concentration, B. High carbon dioxide concentration. So body tissue obtains oxygen from oxyhemoglobin because of its dissociation caused by low oxygen tension and high carbon dioxide concentration. So option C is the correct answer. Process by which chloride ion pass into RBC and bicarbonate ion pass out is called A. Bicarbonate shift, B. Chloride shift, C. Buffer shift, D. Enzyme shift. So to maintain the electrostatic neutrality of plasma, many chloride ion diffuse from plasma into RBC and bicarbonate ion pass out. The chloride content of the RBC increases when oxygenated blood becomes deoxygenated. This term is known as chloride shift or hamburger shift. So option D is the correct answer. In mammals, how much is transported as bicarbonate of sodium and potassium in the blood? So 7% of carbon dioxide transport through dissolved form in plasma and 23% as carb amino hemoglobin and 70% form as bicarbonate. So maximum is bicarbonate transformation, option C. What is the connecting link between glycolysis and Krebs cycle? A. Pyruvic acid, B. CoA, C. Lactic acid, D. Glucose dehydrogenase. So acetyl CoA act as a connecting link between glycolysis and Krebs cycle. Acetyl CoA enters into the Krebs cycle. So option B is the correct answer. During one circulation, the blood from lungs to the tissue and back through the circulatory system, the percentage of hemoglobin giving up its oxygen to the tissue is A 50, B 25, C 75, D 80. So the arterial blood has 19 ml of oxygen per 100 cc of blood of oxygen, while venous blood has 14 ml of oxygen. So in this, total comprises of 25% is the value. So option B. In rabbit, the inspiration occurs by contraction of A. External intercostal muscle and muscles of diaphragm, B. Internal intercostal and muscles of diaphragm, C. External intercostal muscle only, D. Muscles of diaphragm only. So during inspiration, diaphragm and external intercostal muscle contract simultaneously. So this moves the lateral thoracic wall up and out in inspiration and down and inwards in expiration. So option A is the correct answer. Muscles which help in respiration are A. Sternum and petrocle, B. Sternocoel and petrocoel, D. jugal and tendons, D. none of this. So sternohyle and petrohyle helps in respiration in frog. Contraction of sternohyle muscle during breathing in frog, lower floor of oral cavity. So this is present in lower floor of oral cavity, while contraction of pectoral muscle during breathing raises the floor of buccal cavity. So option B is the correct answer. In anaerobic respiration, the pyruvic acid in muscle will form A. Lactic acid, B. Alcohol, C. Acetaldehyde, D. Acetyl-CoA. So in anaerobic respiration, pyruvate formed by glycolysis undergoes two types of incomplete reduction. In one case, it results in formation of ethyl alcohol, which is in the case of yeast, and in other case, it produces lactic acid, which is seen in muscles. So option A is the correct answer. The function of surfactant is A. Facilitating lung expansion, B. Maintaining the stable size of the alveoli, C. To reduce the surface tension of the alveoli, D. All of the above. So surfactant is a lipoprotein secreted by surfactant secreting cells which form part of alveolar epithelium. It tends to reduce the surface tension of the fluid lining the alveoli. This facilitates lung expansion and also maintains the stable size of the alveoli. So option D is the correct answer.